All right, if I can have your attention here in the Media Center, we will continue with today's media availabilities for the Fred's 250 here at Talladega Superspeedway for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. We're now joined by Christopher Bell, driver of the number 4 Kyle Busch Motorsports Toyota. Christopher, there was some exciting news announced earlier today. Can you share with us what your plans are for 2018?
Yeah, it's really exciting actually to be able to go and run full time in the Xfinity Series for Joe Gibbs Racing is obviously it's a dream come true, and it's really cool to be able to move up the ladder underneath the Toyota banner. I can remember, I think it was Chili Bowl 2014. Myself, Tyler Gibbs, and Jack Irving all went and sat down, and I was coming off the USAC National Midget Driver Championship, which was the first for Toyota, and Jack and Tyler sat down and kind of we were just talking about the future and how it was going to work out. And now a couple years later, to be able to be moving up and going to the Xfinity Series with Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing is the dream come true, and really thankful for the opportunities. And it's been great to be able to go from Keith Kunz Motorsports on the dirt side to Kyle Busch Motorsports and the late models, and then as well as the truck series. So I've been with great organizations, and it's going to continue with Joe Gibbs.
Tremendous. Well, congratulations. We'll open it up for questions for Christopher. If you have some, please raise your hand. We'll start over on the left with Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. Christopher, obviously it's a big step for you. This year you've got all these wins coming in, coming into this race. But looking forward to next year, you a little bit nervous? You worried about that? Are you ready for the next step in your career?
I'm excited. One thing that Toyota's done a great job of is preparing me for the next stepping stone. Whenever I was running late models at Kyle Busch Motorsports, they were kind of trickling me into some truck races. And I think I got 7 truck races that year before I went full-time, and it worked out again this year where I'm going to have, I think, 8 Xfinity races before I go full-time next year. So that's great seat time for me. I'm going to be able to be with the organization and kind of learn how they operate. And, driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, you already have somewhat of a feel of how they do things. And I think it's a great fit and the perfect stepping stone.
We'll go in the middle to Kenny and to the right to Chris afterwards.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Christopher, you've made, I think, 4 Xfinity Series starts this year. From a competitive standpoint, how does that relate to the Truck Series when you're out there?
Well, the field is a lot deeper, that's for sure. There's a lot more quality cars in the Xfinity Series. And, other than that, it's still racing. And every step along the way, you're racing against professional race car drivers. And that goes back all the way to when I was racing USAC and World of Outlaws on the dirt side of things. You're racing against professional race car drivers. So, it's just another division. And I feel like the cars are going to actually maybe even suit my driving style a little bit more than the trucks would. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait. And let's go.
Chris, go ahead, please.
ChrisKnightCatchFence.com. Christopher, next weekend you're going to return to the Xfinity Series, run Kansas, and then the final 3, Texas, Phoenix, Homestead. How important is that stretch going to be for you to get prepared for 2018?
Well, like I said, Toyota's done a great job of preparing me for each step, and that's kind of how it worked out with the Truck Series. I was able to do, I think, Vegas, Talladega, Texas, Homestead, the last couple races in the truck schedule before I went full-time in the Truck Series, and same thing this year. I got a couple Xfinity races earlier in the year to get my feet wet, and then I got a lot here at the end to try and prepare me for next year. And so it's a great schedule that they've laid out for me, and I'm going to try and take everything I can get from these next couple Xfinity races that I can drive and try and learn everything and prepare myself as well as I can for next year.
We're going to go to Bob in the middle.
Bob Huckers, ESPN. With the additional races that are in the Xfinity Series, what does that do to your sprint car, Chili Bowl schedule?
Well, I'm done sprint car racing for 2017. There's really no more that I can do. I do have one more midget race, Turkey Night. That's after Homestead on Thanksgiving Day. So as far as other dirt stuff, the Chili Bowl, I'll be at the Chili Bowl, of course. And but yeah, that's all I got for the remainder of 2017. I don't know. We haven't really talked too much about it. I see Jack's over there grinning. So we haven't talked too much about it, and we'll have to play it by ear.
Do we have any additional question? We'll go over here to Caleb to the left.
Caleb Whistler, KickingTheTires.net. What does it mean for you to have such an investment from Toyota in your career?
Well, as a kid growing up, I was just a dirt track racer, so there was really no feasible path to go to NASCAR. And then you see Larson, he went to Keith Kunz Motorsports driving for Toyota, and then unfortunately there wasn't a path there for him, so he went to Ganassi and that route. But then from that point on, I was able to win the Drivers' Championship, and they gave me an opportunity at Kyle Busch Motorsports. So to be able to be associated with Toyota through my entire young career has been a dream come true, and just thankful. I can't say that enough, how thankful I am that they've believed in me through the thick and thin. Last year I had a really not a great season, and then this year's been really great. So they believed in me enough to give me another opportunity this year in the Truck Series, and I'm really thankful for that, and I'm thankful that we get to continue our partnership.
Anything else for Christopher? Christopher, congratulations, and thank you for the time.
Thank you.
If I could have your attention here in the Media Center, we are now joined by Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver number 88, Mountain Dew Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Dale, making your final laps around Talladega Superspeedway, a place that's very special to you. How special is this weekend going to be for you overall?
Well, it is a track we've had a lot of success at, and we've been, looking at this race as a great opportunity for us to come in and get an awesome run or finish and maybe a win. So just been focusing on the car and trying to get the car to be as good as possible, make sure it's driving the way we need to drive it so we can be aggressive in the race, and, all the usual things that you think about and are concerned with on any given race weekend. That's what we're dealing with. Haven't really thought beyond the usual emotions and anticipations that you have every race. So, but I do know this place has been great to me, and definitely was. We got a lot of fans that come see us run here because they see it as a great opportunity to see us run well. So there's some, there's consistent, I wouldn't call it pressure, but there's motivation to do well and run hard for all the folks that have come to see it happen. So I'm sure there's a few extra here for this particular weekend, considering it's our last trip here, and so that's more motivation. So I'm excited, looking forward to the race to get started on Sunday, and hoping we can get up there and give everybody that's going to be pulling for us a reason to cheer, and hope they leave the track Sunday satisfied.
Okay, if you have a question for Dale, raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start with Mike and then go to Dustin and then to Bob.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Dale, we know one big thing you're going to do next year. What other retirement plans do you have? Going to do a cruise to Kannapolis, or some big trip, or what other plans have you got on the docket?
There's no plans. I wish I had something to tell you, but I'm going to, considering that I've never, worked as a broadcaster before, I'm going to spend all my time trying to prepare myself. NBC is going to connect me with and put me in front of people that can help me get prepared for that job and understand the work that I need to do and should do to stay prepared. And I got to learn all that in a short period of time. And so I'll be pretty busy doing that to make sure when I go to work in July that I'm ready and I feel confident and can do a good job. So other than that, can't really think of anything that stands out that y'all might have interest in, other than just my sister bought some property. She was living on the inside the gate out there where we're at, and she bought some property down the road. So I'm moving my mom into Kelly's house, and she's excited about that. So we've been working on that. Amy's been helping with that, and that's been a really fun experience because Mom's just over the moon about it. And so that's been a fun little project for us. And as soon as she gets moved in there, maybe on one of my first weekends away from the track, we'll get have us a pool party or something. That's probably about as exciting as it's going to be.
Okay, we're going to go to Dustin, then to Bob, then to Claire, then to Kelly.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Dale, what are you going to miss about plate racing?
You know, it's hard to say because it's you either love it or you hate it. It seems like there's no middle ground. I always enjoy coming to the track and trying to figure out what's working in the draft and what's changed, and as you change the cars, and we're going to have a brand new Camaro next year. How's that going to, how will that work in the draft? And I always kind of like to find that out, and just being able to make moves and find your way up toward the front, and that's always fun when you do something that your team gets excited about, or the fans that are watching get excited about. I'll miss that. Running a track wide open, don't do that too much. It's pretty fun. I'll miss that. And they're so, the tracks are so impressive, the size and the, how the cars race around them. I'll miss that a little bit, but I still come and watch it and still get an understanding of exactly how the cars are working and how the draft is working, and I'll see things visually that stand out to me and help me understand what's going on, but never will be able to replace that actual experience of doing it.
Do you think you'll miss this more than other types of racing?
I don't. I don't know that I'll miss one more than the other. I really enjoy racing here. I really enjoy racing at Martinsville, two completely different style of events and disciplines, and I'll miss a little bit of something about every place that we run at. All the tracks have character and personality, and the locations themselves and experiences in and around the event. And there'll be a lot of reasons to miss all the tracks and competing on them, and even the road courses.
We'll go to Bob, then to Claire B, then to Kelly Crandall, and then Jim Meadow.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. I have never heard a driver say that they wanted to wear the helmet cam because it would motivate them to make moves, like you said on your podcast.
Yep.
Are you just different than other guys that you need something else to motivate you when you're out there? And what is it about being just kind of part of the showman type aspect of it that makes you want to have it?
Yeah, I wanted to wear it one time before the end of the year, so if we saw it next year, I could talk about it and with some experience. It adds a little weight to the helmet, and just we're working on the visor to create some visibility, fix and correct some visibility issues with the mirror and other things. I'm hoping to run it. I'm making adjustments on it now. We're going to run it again tomorrow in qualifying, but if I can't get it to where I can see the way I want, I'm not going to race it. But I've always felt like that. If it motivated you, bring it on. Add it to the puzzle. And I know that when we come here, for example, people want to see us go to the front. People want to, our fans want to see us take the lead as fast as we possibly can take it. They want to see us in the lead every lap. And I can see in the grandstands the reaction when we have taken the lead and come around the turn 4 on the front straightaway. So that's motivating. I know that that's there, and that pushes me all day at these plate tracks to do as much as I can to get into the lead and stay there. And anything that motivates you, I think you should welcome, and I thought that the helmet cam would do the same thing. Folks at home could be seeing what we're seeing, and I'd want to be able to show them something that was interesting. And so I don't think it'll make me drive any differently. I just know that it's anything that motivates you is good for you. So add it all on, and the more the merrier for that.
Go next to Claire B., then to Kelly, then to Jim, then to Chris Knight.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I have two quick questions. I'll put them quickly into one. The first is if you could talk about Amy driving the pace car, which is really cool. And the second is people seem to like you being opinionated, as you have been lately. How opinionated do you intend to be on television, since you do sort of sway the fans and they kind of go where you go? Have you thought about how opinionated you'll be able to be on TV?
Well, there's a fine line. To be able to understand what is going on in the sport, to know what you need to know and have as much information and knowledge about what's happening down in the garage, you got to have great connections with all those drivers, crew chiefs, and so forth. And I've had conversations with some of the broadcasters, and there's a you have to be careful about how you speak about individuals, because they take that stuff personally. Being a driver, I'm the same way. And you need that connection and be able to have that instant communication, and they can shut that off if they don't want to deal with you. So I think being honest is great, but there is a such thing as being too critical, and I think that I'll have to learn what that is, and you know, I won't be perfect right out of the gate, and I won't get it right every time. And even when I am opinionated, I always end up learning something. Either there's more to it than what I initially thought, or you hear a little bit about the other argument or the other side of the argument. But I don't know if that's really what people like about me, is the fact that I'm that opinionated. I think that sometimes being a bit too opinionated can get yourself into trouble, but I'll just see how it goes. I really, I think if I been watching Tony Romo, and if I'm half as good as he is, I'll be happy. I mean, that guy's just awesome, and he's doing such a great job, and he sounds like he's sitting right there next to you on the couch, just talking about the game with you, like a best friend. And it's easy to listen to, and he does such a good job with it. He doesn't try to be anything he's not. And hopefully if I can maintain that, and certainly I'll get better with more reps, just like anything else. The more you do it, the more confidence you get in yourself. I think the main thing for me is just building confidence, and that's going to start with being prepared and working in those initial 6 months of the first of next year to try to be prepared as I can. So, but I don't, I think they hired me to be myself, and I'll try to get in there and keep that going. But but I know that just knowing what Jeff went through with a few guys and talking to Letarte and listening to their advice, it's you just don't jump in there and just get all critical on the drivers and stuff, because that'll make you a lot of enemies in the garage, and you need those relationships to have that ability to communicate and stay up to date on what's happening in this sport. So if you if you're hacking on the drivers, they're going to stop dealing with you and not want to talk to you.
What about Amy driving?
Oh yeah. I don't know who was more excited about that, me or her, but she asked me about it and said, "What do you think?" I said, "Man, if you get an opportunity and if you get asked to do that, you have to do it." I know a lot of people are, I know a lot of fans are probably like, "What? I don't understand how she got that opportunity," but they wouldn't turn it down either, So I told her to go for it. She's excited. It makes me happy that she even thinks it's cool. And Kelly drove the pace car for the late model race, and that was a great experience for Kelly, and so I was happy about it. Like, man, yeah, go do it. That sounds like it just sounds like something fun to do, and nobody would really want to turn that down. So hopefully it's a good experience for her that day, and I'm sure she's going to do fine. I don't know. Probably anybody in this room should be able to do it at Martinsville.
We'll go next to Kelly, and then we'll go to Chris Knight.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Dale, speaking of motivation, you said in your appreciation clip this week that after winning the July Daytona race, that kind of led to some other success, including here at Talladega, because you wanted to prove to people that it wasn't a fluke in the sense of those who called it, said that your car was illegal. How badly and how long did that stick with you when it came to running at Daytona and Talladega?
Mike Davis he used to work for Jimmy Spencer, and Jimmy Spencer's the guy that got out of his car that night after that race and said, boy, that's fishy how good that car was. And Mike, we used to work for Jimmy Spencer, and he has 2 of Jimmy's die casts on his cabinet in his office. And every time I walk in that office and see those die casts, that's the only thing I think about. So it bothers me today. I don't know. A lot of times, myself included, you don't think before you speak, but that was an incredible night for us in 2001 when we won that race. And I just felt like that even if he did feel that way, I was disappointed that he would do that and say that. And for us to come back here the next race and win and then have success over the next several years, sort of was like, hey, it's not it wasn't a one-race fluke or an illegal car. That's just how good our program was at the plate tracks. If you guys remember that the partnership that we put together with Petrie and RCR and all that stuff was geared directly toward making our plate cars better. And those 3 teams, even Petrie's stuff was amazing at the plate tracks, always running up front. So, but I just was like, man, of course, it's Jimmy Spencer. It's the kind of thing he does. But I never really thought that. I never really liked that too much, and haven't forgotten about it. I guess you can't. Hard to forget something like that. But it was nice to come. It was nice to keep winning and show people that was legit. Because that was like, for me, that's the stuff movies are made of. To come back there after Dad passed away and win that race was just the greatest thing I could imagine happening for me. So, or anybody else, all his fans, all our family. All our family back home, his brothers, sisters. That was a big deal to all of them, It was a crazy experience.
Go next to Chris.
Chris Knight, CatchFans.com. Dale, how will stage racing change the complexity of this race on Sunday? What do you think we can expect in being in a restrictor plate race and the first time we're seeing stage racing in the playoffs? And are you an advocate to see any changes for stage racing at all next year, as far as maybe caution laps not counting or something along those lines?
Yeah, I really don't have an opinion right now. I'm sure it could change, but I don't think the drivers. I don't hear much about that from the other drivers in conversation. I know the fans do talk about it as far as the caution laps counting and so forth. But in the car, it don't really feel like the cautions are any longer or longer than normal. I've gotten really accustomed to it and think it's really helped the sport. I don't know how you make it better. I'm sure you could if you thought about it, but I think it's really improved the races and made them more exciting and intense inside the car. And I assume if that's going on, it's transcending out, across the television or into the grandstands, and people are seeing that intensity. So I kind of like it. But I don't really know how it's going to affect the race on Sunday. I know that it was a little funky in Daytona at the 500. Guys were pitting early and so forth, and I don't know what you'll see. I think it'll be similar to what the races look like at Daytona, and they should run pretty traditional to what we've seen over the last several weeks. I don't know that anybody will be pulling any crazy strategy or going really outside the box. Especially these guys that are in the chase. When you're in the playoffs, it's hard to go outside the box. You just do what everybody else in the playoffs are doing, unless you're a guy that's got to throw a Hail Mary.
Dale, before we continue on here, I've got Russell Branham at the Speedway, Grant Lynch. You guys have a lot of special guests with you today, so why don't you come and introduce?
Yeah, we're thrilled today to have the board of directors from the International Motorsports Hall of Fame. Of course, he said Grant Lynch, our chairman, Senator Gerald Dial, who's the chairman of the board of the International Motorsports Hall of Fame. So we'll get them just to sit down for a second, and Grant's got a few things he wants to go over first.
First off, Dale, this is your retirement tour, so to speak, and I don't know anywhere you can go that there's any more people that have loved what you do at that racetrack. Your dad was the same way here, and on behalf of everybody at Talladega, all the race fans, millions of race fans that watched you race here, we just thank you for what you've done. Watching you go to the front, you've said it before, you can hear it in the car, and it's just a thrill to have been here and watch you and your dad throughout the years. And so then you say, okay, what do you do for somebody arguably who's got everything he needs? So you say, well, let's try to give him something he doesn't know he needs, but he might want. So we have here, Russell's going to unveil him, Erskine Thunderberg with our White Flag Club. He has always helped us in Victory Lane, and we always have produced more champagne bottles than we use. You sprayed a lot of those in your career. The first one here is the same champagne bottle we gave. This is senior, right?
Yes.
This was the bottle your dad sprayed, just came out of the same box your dad sprayed on his last victory here. Erskine gave us this one back from his collection he snuck out of Victory Lane. So give Erskine some credit for giving this up. So this is the first one.
Nice.
And we know what you think about history. This is an exact bottle that you sprayed at your first victory here. And Erskine gave us this for your collection too.
Y'all guys stand up. Quick picture.
Here, grab this one. Senator, stand up real quick.
Get the other one, Grant.
Senator Dial's coming in
Grant,
just a minute.
Grant, get the other
I'll get that. Thank you,
Y'all
Russell.
hold it up.
Okay, am I doing right, Russell?
Everybody look, say cheese, straight forward. All right,
All right.
let's see.
Now, here comes the Russell play. Get ready.
There you go.
You want me to give Dale Jr. a Matchbox car, and he's already signed it?
Yeah, he signed it for me last year when he came here when he was part of the Alabama game. Remember that? Right.
Oh, yeah. Senator Dial,
Well,
don't you think you can take
Grant,
over at this point?
let me say something. I think we can do better than that. I think we can do a lot better. Dale Jr., you're the epitome of Talladega and Alabama. You have really put us on the map. You are an Alabamian, not by birth, but by adoption. You know the governor has declared Sunday Dale Earnhardt Jr. Day, and that's a great honor. So we're excited about being here. My board is here. We chair the International Motorsports Hall of Fame board across the street, and we think that we can do a little better than this, because we're gonna ask you to step outside. But let me tell you, you talking about what you're gonna do, you could get in politics, but don't come back and run about it against our governor. We love her. Run somewhere else. But we think politics would be a great thing for you. You could lead a lot in that arena, and we look forward to seeing your future. But we won't step outside. We think we might make a little better than a.
I'd like to ask if Dale and Grant and Senator, y'all would wait here just a second. All my media, if you go out,